Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, our expert, and today we have ourselves Tamaki Kotatsu. I don't know what the fuck to say her last name. Either way, we're back with another grand guide, and today we're going to be talking about Tamaki. She is a character of all time. I'll be real. Like, I pulled her like 4 times, bro. What is she, 4-6? Yeah, like, I pulled her way too many times for my liking. I'm gonna be so real. That was genuinely painful. But in any case, any scenario, we are here to talk about her and her use case, her value, her good teams, all that good gritty nitty stuff that you could potentially need for this character. Because now that the Fire Force collab is over, what are you going to be doing with this character? And that's pretty much what all of the grand guides are, since they're all taking place after the collab is done. But you would understand, hopefully. So going into Tamaki, she is a blue human, and her skills are pretty straightforward. She has a remove stance, single target, and then she has a heat strike, which does more damage and then also applies ignites on one enemy. This skill is decent. It does like 100k, so it's not a bad skill for a support character to use. And then the stance rank 1 is literally like one of the best skills of all time. Any character with a rank 1 stance is just a good character overall. Now, her ultimate grants allies mobility for 1 turn and then inflicts ruin equal to 700 whatever % that you are. Let's just go to 1/6, right? It does 560% of attack on the enemy, and then ruin is the whole 30% damage per debuff. It's really strong ultimate if you ever get in a situation where you can even use it. But usually that doesn't happen. And then if you don't know, at I think it's 2/6 or 3/6, her mobility becomes a gray buff instead of a blue buff, so you can't remove it, and it's really strong on her. But regardless, it's a really good ultimate. She has a really good kit. It's not like DPS centered. She is a support character through and through, even though she has 2 attack skills, but she is 100% a support character when you look at her passive, right? Increase human allies basic stats by 5% for each one participating in battle. So just like Sho, she can support all humans. Shinra cannot support all humans, which is unfortunate. He only works on Fire Force characters, but Tamaki and Sho have universal comp with humans. Don't know why they decided to do that. It's very strange, but that's how they did it, so it is what it is. Moving on, grants human allies mobility for 1 turn at the start of the battle. Mobility is just an evade. Basically, if you run Tamaki in the sub slot, you got infinite dodge food, or 1 turn of dodge food without running dodge food. And so, fun fact, if you run Tamaki and dodge food, you have 2 instances of dodge, which is super OP, not gonna lie, but I digress. If the hero enters the battle from the secondary slot, sub slot, the hero gains Nekomata. Nekomata upon using a skill, the hero removes 1 buff from the target and gains mobility. So when she comes from the sub slot, her first skill, let's say you're attacking someone with a Nanashi buff, I guess. It'll remove 1 of those Nanashi buffs, and then she'll get mobility after the fact. Because the fact of the matter is, there aren't any meta teams right now that have buffs outside of Tamaki if you're 1/6, but if she's not 1/6, then there are no blue buffs on like most meta. But if people are running sub slot hell, Tamaki is really good for that. If you pull her out of the sub slot as well, you can remove the retrogression, and that's like the only buff in meta right now. So Tamaki does counter a little bit of Escanor rolling comps if they want to be weird and run hell backline and stuff like that. She does do her job really well. And then moving on, if the hero uses a single target skill, which she has 2, if she uses 2 single target skills, she gives herself mobility for 1 turn, which is broken. It's not just 1 attack. Like, mobility evades 1 enemy attack for the beginning of the turn, but if she uses 2 single target skills, she's just evading the whole turn. At least that's how it's worded here. I don't know if that's true, because anytime Tamaki comes out the backline, let's be honest, you already lost the game. But the way that it's worded here, if a hero uses single target attacks twice or more in 1 turn, human allies gain mobility for 1 turn. So I guess it could still be just 1 evade, to be honest. I might be, yeah, none of them looking at both wordings. Yeah, it's just a 1 evade attack, so you're not getting it for the whole turn. You get mobility for the turn, but you're not getting the evade for the whole turn. It's very poorly worded, I'll be honest, but it is what it is. Moving on to her holy relic, increase human allies damage up by 10% for each ignite. Really good for her, really good for Sho, really okay for I'm not Sho. It's good for her, it's good for Shinra, it's okay for Sho, because Sho doesn't need extra damage. He does millions. Shinra can keep up, but he also needs to build up his kit as well. So that's cool. She has a solid kit, and she's a great support character for humans. She's probably gonna be the staple human support for a very long time. especially when you consider that they're like having a sub slot that gives you dodge is kind of wild. This is like Summer Roxy but better, and Summer Roxy was fun for a time, but since she was like more catered as a DPS character, she didn't work out with her dodge mechanic. But Tamaki's dodge mechanic is broken. It really is, especially when you have a shield based team with Escanor Merlin. You have damage cap with Shinra. Not being able to do damage for one instance of damage is kind of busted. It just is. So with this character overall, she is genuinely cracked. Is she the best character in the Fire Force collab? I thought so originally because she has the most longevity between the three characters, but she's just not that crazy. Specifically because she doesn't do that much. Even though her kit is nasty, she's not doing a lot to push that kit forward. And what I mean by that is that yes, very, very good support character. But compared to like Shuna, right? Shuna was a very good support character. She's a green unknown. She has a heal. When she heals, she gives everyone a pierce rate buff, which was really good for Rimuru, Albedo, with Amplify and stuff like that. Like Shuna was a good support character, and her Holy Relic is broken. Her passive is really good, but she doesn't do anything. And that's how Tamaki is in my head. This is all opinionated. Take your word for it. Take my word for it. However you feel. If you have better experience with Tamaki, go for it. And I'm not saying I have bad experiences with her. She literally makes or breaks the Fire Force team sometimes. But when you are playing at a pace where you are genuinely just going first a lot, Tamaki's not doing that much when you're going first. If you're going second, Tamaki's really good. But going first, Shinra and Sho outshine Tamaki. And as well as Escanor Merlin, they all outshine her. And they can do what they do turn one without Tamaki. They don't need the damage increase from her. They don't need the basic stats from her. That's just extra cherry on top. But they don't need her. And then in PvE, she's borderline useless. I'm gonna be real. Now, granted, she can also technically run Enduro with Sho. You can run Sho, Tamaki, Sung Jin Woo. You could probably make something work. Or you can run Sho, Sung Jin Woo, Beru, or Thor, or Freyr in that third slot. And then Tamaki in a sub slot because she has good CC, so you can get good CC for Enduro, so you don't have to rely on like CC food to go first and shit like that if you're like under leveled. And it's fine that way. And she does have like a remove stance, but the remove stance doesn't do anything for Enduro. You need the petrifies and the stuns. So removing his stance isn't gonna stop it, right? So, and then what else blue event is there? She's what, freaking Red Demon? Red Demon support character. That's just gonna take longer. There's 85 different units for Red Demon to make you one turn every phase. Tamaki's not one of them. Now you can, if you have like, you know, maxed out cosmetics, you bought all her stuff, you upgraded it, you upgraded her relic, you gave her 15% rolls, you gave her attack crit, which is not how you're supposed to build her. And then in that case, sure, I can see her one-shotting Red Demon. But what is she going to be used for exactly? Nothing. Because even in guild bosses, she's not on like high scoring teams. Jovial Grace does her job better. Jovial Grace is just broken. Nauseance does her job better. Mikasa even low-key does her job slightly better. Because the way guild boss works is that you're never running a full human team in PvE. Unless you're doing like an event boss. In which case you're not running Tamaki anyway because you have Escanor Merlin, Gojo Ban, Sung Jin Woo, Nauseance, King Arthur. Like you're not running support characters in event fights like that. Unless you're really struggling, sure, I guess. But genuinely speaking, she doesn't have a use case. Now, with that being said, if y'all found a use case for her that I just can't think of at the moment, then by all means, leave that in the comments below and we can have a talk about that. A civil conversation. I don't need niggas crashing out because of an opinion, okay? Relax. We can talk like adults. But, I just don't see Tamaki's use case. I don't see her value at the moment. And then now we're going into Salos. That's going to be an unknown meta. So Escanor Merlin is going to switch to the unknown comp unless they change how how Salos works and they make her like a Sabunak character. Like if you're using her with Sabunak kind of thing. But regardless, we're talking about Tamaki. And I'm going to be real, I don't see her use case. I just don't. PvP, strong. Very strong. PvE, nothing. So as long as the humans are not in meta, she's not gonna be meta, if that makes any sense. Just to lack of better words. So moving on from that, let's go to the equipment, right? It's very simple. She's a support character, HP defense. Attack crit is not necessary. She's not a damage dealer. HP crit damage is not necessary. She's not a damage dealer. just give her HP defense. It's just that simple. She does nothing except for support her team. Let her support her team in the back line. Give her CC, boost your CC, let it happen, okay? And that's really it for Tamaki. When it comes to team comps, you already know she only has one team comp, and that's Fire Force and Escanor Merlin. She doesn't do anything else. So logistically, I don't see her use case in any... Her value is still good though. When it comes to, since the collab is over, when it comes to pulling this character and not knowing what you're doing with her versus missing out on the collab, right? If you pull this character, you have a lot of value on your account. Tamaki is good, even at 1/6. Humans are broken with Tamaki. She does her job and she does it very well. But if you missed out on Tamaki and like you just didn't summon on a collab, or you didn't get lucky, or whatever the circumstance may be, Tamaki is more like a hit or miss, because humans aren't going to be in meta for very longer. So yes, playing PvP for the first few days, you're going to be running into everyone running evade food. But with solos dropping soon, unknowns are going to be meta. You're not going to be seeing human teams. You're just not going to. So it's really a toss-up if it's really worth pulling her or not owning her. But at the very instance, if you do have her, you're in good spaces with your human teams for the foreseeable future. She will be a staple sub slot. I don't think she's getting replaced for a very long time. Unless you like running Nanashi still, then sure, go for it, because ult control is very strong. But Tamaki's just goated like that. She just is. And then if you don't have her, GG's. It is what it is. You're not missing out that much. Maybe the rank 1 stance cancel, because this card specifically is such a rare card to see in the game itself that it might be a little bit of a miss that you don't pull this, especially for events, like event bosses, like Cav Pulag and stuff like that, where they stance and you need stance cancel characters. And there's literally only like 3 or 4 of them with rank 1 stance cancels. It's Jenna, Yuri Zahard, which is really good. She's still really good, useful on those type of things. Tamaki, and like random bullshit SR characters or something like that. I can't think of any other ones, but oh, I think one of the Freyas, maybe? Either way. Tamaki, that's just going to be her, right? That's literally Tamaki. She's goated. Is she useful? Yes. Are you missing out? Not really. But Tamaki is cool. So, hey, shout out to her. I'm going to wrap up the video here. I don't think I have anything else to say about her in the grand guide of things, because she's very straightforward and you're not using her in content. So, GG's. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all when I see y'all. Peace and have a wonderful day.